Hey, what's up, guys? I'm your average guide, Sahil Gogna, and today we have Lasalle College alumni Marlon and William, and they will be sharing their experience as a student of Lasalle College and also their experience with the industry. Hey, guys, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
My name is Marlon. I'm from Colombia, and I in Montreal for almost 3 years. Now I'm working like a mobile developer in Android field.
Hi, my name is William. I'm from Venezuela. I'm currently working as an iOS developer for a company called Prospects. I've been working there almost for 1 year. Well, basically 1 year was yesterday. So everything good, everything fine.
Awesome. So, guys, can you please share the challenges you faced when you graduated from the college to get a job?
Well, actually, I don't know how to answer that question because I think I was really, really lucky because the work that I got, it was my first interview actually. I think the most difficult part, I would say, of my interview was the test. They made a test at the first interview, and it was on paper. So basically, you had to remember a lot of things, and even though they were not like really, really hard questions per se, they were really specific sometimes about the skills that you needed for that job. As, for example, in this job, you need to use a lot of the map. So there were a lot of questions about how to use the map kit, for example, in iOS. But as a searching for a job, I have no idea because, as I said, it was my first interview, and I got the job. In the meantime, I was in another process, but it was a little bit slower. So this company, it was 1 week, and the next one I was starting already.
Okay. And Marlon?
In my opinion, I think it's not difficult enough to find a job in Montreal like a mobile developer or like a developer. I think the market offers a lot of opportunities, but for sure you have to work out so hard in your CV, in your interviews. I think it's a process that you need to understand that you're applying for a job in Montreal, in Canada, so you have to realize what is the context to get a job. I think it's not difficult, but I think it's not easy at the same time. You need to work out in this path.
So, guys, can you tell the audience a little bit about your background? I have a brief idea about William, like he was an electrical engineer back in his country, but it would be great if you guys can tell a little bit about your background and what were you doing in the past.
My background, I'm a computer engineer, but all my background is in networking.
Yeah.
So when I started to study in Lasalle College, it was not strange a lot to me. I had some basis about development. So I think I just got more experience in Lasalle College, more stuff about object-oriented programming and everything related with the mobile development, because at that time I had zero experience about mobile development, just a little skills about Java, but not enough to start to develop an application.
Okay. And William, what was your experience?
When I was working as an electrical engineer, we used a lot of Excel, Microsoft Excel. And at the time, in the first job that I got, we let's say we had a project to maximize the use of Excel. So that's why we decided to go with a little bit of programming macros. That's where I got like a little bit knowledge of how to code a little bit. Just what is a for loop, what is those basic stuff, what is an if clause and all things. But in my case, without the computer background, I really don't know why they chose me actually. I think it was more about the attitude that I had at the time with the interview. And
Yep.
And I think that the things that I was able to say during the interview, because of my knowledge that I got in the course, I think they were kind of surprised. I think they felt like, oh, you know Solid, oh, you know this, or you know that, oh, you know a little bit of a Scrum. Okay, that's good, that's good. So I think that that helped me a lot, and also the attitude that I have. Also, there were a lot of questions about why you're changing field, why you're studying that. But in my case, I was let's say pretty sure that I wanted to change. So I had like the strong arguments to defend myself against those type of questions. But I think it was more about the attitude that I had at the time.
Yeah, I agree with William. When you're facing some interviews, I think people here, is just my impression, people is not looking for someone that is able to do everything. They're looking for someone to do a specific job. And during the interview, it's so important to demonstrate that you're looking for this kind of job. What is your attitude? If you're enthusiastic or not about developing, I think it's extremely important.
So guys, how's the market out there for the freshers?
There are many jobs. Even there is no jobs like a native mobile developer. You can find in hybrid platforms like Xamarin, React. There are many offers. The market is insane here in Canada. I think if you're looking for a job here in this market, you can get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think at least for iOS, I think there are a lot of opportunities there. I always receive notifications on LinkedIn of new postings in iOS, so I think there is a lot of opportunities there.
Mm-hmm. Is it because of the experience you have right now, or you were getting the same number of offers when you were a fresher?
It could be a little difficult because you don't have experience in Canada, but like I told you before, you have to concentrate in the searching of a job, looking for a job. So you need to start improving your CV. You need to think about how it's gonna be your interview, how you're going to sell yourself to the interviewers. So I think it's not impossible to get a job. It's something that you have to work out. It's my position about the market in Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah, in my case, I would say that I have received more opportunities once I started, but it doesn't mean that I got some when I was searching for them.
And what are your views about the Lasalle College Android application development course? And do you feel like that course was perfectly designed to meet the requirements of the industry?
Now about the college, it's about you. How enthusiastic are you to start working in development field, or how enthusiastic or motivated are you to look for a job like a developer? So for me, Lasalle was a great experience. I learned a lot from the teacher, from the college, from my classmates. I learned a lot from you, Sahil, from William. I think everyone gave me a little bit to start like a mobile developer. So far, no complaint about the college. For sure, I know there are colleges that can give you more stuff, but I think it's insane to think that you're gonna get a college that is gonna give you everything that you need to start to work. I think it's not possible because there are different projects. We're working with technology, and technology every day is evolved. So you learn something today, and next week there are gonna be more stuff. So it's not the college, it's you.
Yeah.
It's your enthusiasm about the technology.
And William, would you like to add something to this?
It goes more or less what Marlon says. I think the experience was really good. I think in general the course is really good, especially with all the Scrum and solid principles. I think that's a really base that you need. But as Marlon said, you need a lot of motivation. You need to do a lot of work after class. If you don't do it, it's gonna be really difficult to improve, especially when a course is so fast. It's only 1 year. They try to give you everything that the basics, let's say, but you need to work a lot at home. But when I said a lot, man, I spend like 6 hours after class at the computer doing exercises, little projects. If you don't do that, I think the course is gonna be short. That's for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with William.
So what were the other resources you guys were using apart from the things that were being taught in the class?
Online, I think there are plenty material about mobile development. There are some platforms that you can use. Udemy. I don't remember the other platforms, but you can pay, I don't know, $15 for a course, and it's not gonna give you a master in something, but you can get a general idea about, I don't know, maybe Jetpacket in mobile, in Android mobile, or I don't know, maybe something in Git or something in iOS. There are many platforms. Even in YouTube you can get good stuff, but you have to filter that, because there are good stuff and there are another stuff that is not good enough. So you have to be careful about that. At the beginning it doesn't matter, but when you get in more and more experience, you start to realize that you need to be more careful about the information that you get from the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. There are a lot of examples in YouTube, Stack Overflow, that they will help you. I think that the tricky part here is that get an idea and try to work on it. So if you have a question, you type it on Google and you for sure will find the answers, how to do it. Yeah. But it's not just copy paste. You have to try to understand what are trying to do, and from there you will start learning more and more.
So guys, we do have a lot of information that's scattered over internet, and for a fresher it's very hard to choose like which website or which article to follow. Is there any specific approach you would like to suggest to a fresher? Like how should they start with the application development? Should they shortlist an idea and then start learning the features, or should they firstly learn all the features and then start implementing them in an application? So what are your views?
Point out your goal. What you're gonna do? You're gonna work like a native developer, or you're gonna work like a hybrid developer? Talking about Xamarin and React. So according with that, you have to make a plan and you have to decide, okay, which are my weakness, and according with that, you have to work out in this weakness. Because I don't know, maybe in the college you can get the stuff about the language, but maybe they're not gonna give you a lot of stuff about Git. They're not gonna give you a lot of stuff about the patterns. They're gonna give you a little example about the patterns, but when you're working in the real market, you need to understand very well that part. If not, maybe you're gonna screw it up. So I think the secret is to point out your goal, and after that, try to identify your weakness and work out in that. Don't try to do everything at the same time, because you're gonna get crazy. Try to do it step by step. It's gonna be a long journey, but I think if you're gonna work in this field, you have to do it.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a difficult question to answer, because, for example, in my case, that I started with the Lasalle College course. I think, let's say you are going step by step, and I gotta tell you, it's going to you're following like a process. So for example, there are sometimes it's not only about the language that you're using, it's also about the structure and how you structure your code. And that's something that you're not going to learn maybe in a YouTube video, or because for example, sometimes in YouTube video I see things that I wouldn't do it that way, even though that the video will do whatever the thing that you want to do. Like I won't do it that way because I don't like doing that or this, because many principles or practice that you should follow. That's why sometimes there is like a theory, let's say in this case I would say it might be solid behind, that is really important to know. And I think that's the basics. And honestly, I don't know if you can learn that in a online course or in a YouTube video. But it definitely helps. I mean, I bought, for example, the Udemy course just support to find some exercises to see, okay, how this lady implement things differently from what I'm seeing at the course. And from there, sometimes it's more like a taste. What do you like more? Doing this or going to that approach or going to the other approach? Because in coding, it's not like there is a good or wrong. Sometimes you have to give up some things that are good if you follow in this way. Sometimes you have to make some evil, but you don't have another choice. So there's nothing like a perfect model in coding. So that's why you can go one way or another. But that will depend mostly on your taste.
Okay. And
let me share with you a little experience that I had 1 year ago. When I started to work in my company, I said myself, you know what? I'm gonna work in Android field. So in my free time, I'm gonna start iOS development. So at that moment, I said that. But when I start to work in my company and I open the Android door, I realized that there are many stuff there to learn. So at that moment, I said, you know what? You have to focus. You have to realize which are your weakness and work out in this weakness, because you're gonna crash. So that's why this is my point of view about it. Point out your goal and try to identify your weakness, because if you try to do everything at the same time, I'm sure you're gonna get crazy, or maybe you're gonna move for another field.
Mm-hmm. So guys, with the introduction of new hybrid technologies like Flutter, do you feel like students should learn these technologies, or should they stick to the native app development?
I think it's a question for someone with more experience, but from my humble experience, I think, from my humble opinion, I think it's a different approach. If you're looking for something very, very specific, for something that you need to use camera, GPS, Bluetooth, I think it's much better native development. But if you're developing something not complicated enough, I'm talking about the features, maybe hybrid could be your solution. I don't think that hybrid is better than native and native is better than hybrid. I think they have different approaches. I think now Flutter is really good because you just gonna read one code and you're going to deploy in web, iOS, and Android. But I don't know, I heard some people saying that, you know what, if I'm going to use GPS or if I'm going to use Bluetooth, it's much better go to the Kotlin or Java to develop these kind of features. So this is my perception so far. I need to research more about that. But now I'm falling in love with Kotlin. That is the native language for Android. I don't know, maybe in the future I'm gonna take the time to study Flutter. Why not? I think it's something exciting. But first, I need to master native development. It's gonna take a lot of time for me.
Whenever you're applying the job as a fresher, so are you asked this question about the Flutter and like, are you a native app developer or do you know some basics about Flutter? So is there any problem in not knowing Flutter as a fresher?
In my case, I got this kind of question. They request me about the Flutter, but at that moment, I was very honest and I said, no, you know what? I know what is Flutter, but I never wrote a line of coding in I forget the name of the language of Flutter. Okay, whatever. So I think there is no problem. I think the thing there is you have the basis clear. Talking about object-oriented programming, solid concept, and there are other things that can let you enter to the market, and after that they start to learn a new language or a new platform. For example, when I went to look for a job, I got the job, but when they explained me what which gonna be my tax, they told me, okay, now in this project we work 95% in Kotlin, just 5% in Java. At that moment, I don't have idea about Kotlin. So they know that I don't have idea about Kotlin, but they give me the opportunity to work in the project. So I start to work with Kotlin a lot. I work so hard to get a decent level of Kotlin. I'm on my way. I need more time to learn more things, but I think even if they're looking for someone that have experience in Flutter and you have just experience in Java, you can apply for this kind of job, because in this field always you need to learn something new. I don't know, maybe there are senior developers in the market. I work with many senior developers, but I'm sure that they don't have all the stuff, 100% of the stuff that we need. No, I don't think so. They need, like me, like the others, they need to go to Google and Googling something about some problem that we have to figure it out. So no worries about that. I think the point is try to consolidate your knowledge about the object-oriented programming if you're looking for a mobile development, and try to improve your skills with the GitHub and the other, how to connect with APIs. I think is more relevant than the language. For sure, it's important, the language, but I think you need another stuff. If you don't have idea about the language, no worries, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, that's also true. But for in my case, they didn't ask for do you know Flutter or not. They were sure they were looking for a native iOS developer. So in that way, I didn't have any problem at all. And some of the opportunities that I got some now and then, I don't see that in my case, they require you need to know Flutter. They are all for native iOS developers. So, but I guess I would depend on the application, on the job application that you are doing. For sure, if they require Flutter, they will put it as a skill.
Mm-hmm. So guys, any final advice you would like to give to the students who are listening to our video right now?
Work hard as much as you can. Study after class.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with William. I think that's the path. And at the same time, try to keep motivated. If you don't love this career, please don't follow, because you're gonna suffer a lot. If you like this field, be conscious that you have to work out so hard. You need to, after classes, go to your home and try to do things by yourself, because this is the way to learn. This is the way that people are doing around the world. Even I met some guys that they never got classes from the school. They just start to coding from internet, and they are really good. So keep motivated.
Yeah, and also what I would recommend is always challenge yourself. Don't go at home and, okay, I'm going to do the same exercise that I did at the class. Try to do something different, something new, something maybe a little bit harder that, oh, how would I do that? Even though you don't see it at the class, but those are the kind of experience that you will encounter during the job. Like you have to do this, like I don't have idea how to do this. So you have to search it, and I do that all the time at work. There are some times that I face situations that I don't know how to do it or how to solve this, and you have to search it. And I think that's the best way to complement. For example, the Lasalle course, you have to challenge yourself to do new exercise at home. Don't repeat the same exercise that you do at class, because I think that doesn't give you anything at all. It's just you're just framing yourself. You have to always expand your ideas and the way to solve problems, because at the end, this job is about solving problems. It's basically that.
Yeah, there is another thing according with the William explanation that is extremely important from my point of view. I think it's important that you get communities, because if you try to resolve everything by yourself, okay, maybe you can resolve many problems, but there are many people trying to resolve the same problems, and they can resolve in a better way than you, or maybe you can resolve better than them. But it's about to share information, it's about to share the knowledge, it's about to try to grow up like a community. So don't be alone with your staff. Try to get a community, try to share, try to post your question, try to reply the question that the other guys they're posting. I think it's extremely important. Be part of the community.
Yeah, and even at school, because at least for the three of us helps us a lot. Answering questions, you know how to do this, you know how to, can you explain me this, can you explain me that? And I think that was one of the key points to be successful in this course, is to have people around you that is looking for the same goal, that they want to learn, they want to do things better. And that in my case, that was a key point for me in order to I would say improve and be successful at the end of the course.
Well, I guess that's it for today's talk. Thanks a lot, guys, for sparing our time and sharing your valuable experience with everyone.
I appreciate a lot your invitation to this podcast.
Thank you, Sahil. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, and I hope this helps other students and people that is looking for jobs or courses and everything like that.